Welcome to Westfield Middle School's video news magazine, Cloverfield News. I'm Trey Buchanan. When I'm not under quarantine for COVID-19, I like to play basketball and hang out with friends. Since school has been out, I've been playing a lot of video games and board games with my family at home.
I'm Lily Stin, and when I am not under quarantine for COVID-19, I like to play volleyball, hang out with my friends, and bake. I played volleyball for the school, and my best friends were on that team. I also bake crazy cakes with my best friends.
I play basketball for teams year-round. This last winter, I played for Primetime. We were kind of bad and didn't win too many games, but I still enjoyed it. This spring and summer, I was going to play for IBA, but COVID-19 came in a couple games into the season.
Hi, I'm Holly Scheller, and when I'm not under quarantine, I do competitive dance. We go all around the state and beyond to compete. COVID-19 has canceled nationals, the biggest part of the year, where we were supposed to go all the way to Georgia.
My name is Rowan Elbert, and when I'm not under quarantine, I play basketball in the Student Impact League. It's always fun to play basketball, and thankfully the season ended a while back, so nothing was canceled. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes.
We're all
in the fourth quarter,
WMS broadcast class,
the e-learning version.
Usually we would do the daily announcements.
But the only announcements we have had has been don't go anywhere
and do your e-learning. So instead, we will be showing you videos produced by WMS students this year.
We will look at two student stories of what the beginning days of life during a pandemic is like.
We will explore the world language classes here at WMS.
We will hear from a family dealing with a child on the autism spectrum.
Our first report was produced in late February, right before the world changed. Student Impact is a local Christian ministry that runs a basketball league for the city of Westfield. I had a chance to go to the final tournament and created this report with some friends.
Student Impact Basketball is
epic, elite, competitive.
The Student Impact Basketball League is a league where kids in grades 7 through 12 can play organized basketball so that they can have some fun and compete to win at the same time. Around 130 7th and 8th grade basketball players attend a tryout at the start of the season where they are scouted by the 16 coaches from the different teams. The coaches have a private draft after the tryout where they select the players for their teams. Once the coaches have drafted all the players, they notify them and begin practices the following week. Each team plays the other 15 teams at the Pacers Athletic Center every Friday throughout the next 8 weeks. These games are filled with high-level talent and can get pretty heated as friends off the court talk smack and play against each other on the court.
How are you and your team going to celebrate this victory? I'm feeling some Nova Romans right now. Going there. That's real nice. That's Andrew Liskey.
Some of the leading scorers throughout the regular season were Andrew Liskey from Team Blue, Carter Maris from Team Yellow, and Tyler Gency from Team Purple.
Yeah, my confidence was 100%. I know we were going to win the game, so I just took the shot.
After the regular season, they are then seeded based on their records for a winner-go-home playoff bracket, where if you lose, you and your team's season is over. The playoffs began on January 31st, and we have seen some hard-fought and back-breaking games where kids have left their hearts out on the court. Blood, sweat, and tears have been shed throughout all the teams, but after the semifinals, where Team Blue played Team Black and Team Yellow played Team Purple, it has finally come down to the last two remaining teams.
My plan for next week is to carry the team, cook up everybody on the opponent's team, just absolutely drain every shot, the usual.
The championship game will be on February 28th at the Pacers Athletic Center between Team Blue and Team Yellow. This game will be the last middle school student impact game for most of these players, so you know they will be giving it everything they've got. You do not want to miss this huge game, so come out and watch as these highly talented players go head-to-head and battle it out for the Student Impact Basketball Championship trophy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trey, for that report. My team unfortunately lost in the Final Four, but it was still a fun experience. I have also learned that Student Impact has joined forces with Westfield Youth Assistance Program, Open Doors of Westfield, Shepherd Center of Hamilton County, Westfield Washington School, and many other local organizations to help the Westfield community through this COVID stay-at-home order. The Wellbeing Coalition is helping with food, necessities, and emotional support during this time.
WMS offers 2 world languages. Students can take these subjects for a quarter or for a full year for high school credit.
Westfield Middle School offers 2 foreign language classes, French and Spanish. Both classes are taught at a survey or intro level.
Well, I've always wanted to take a foreign language class, and so in 7th grade I decided to take both surveys, and then I decided that I liked French more, so I ended up taking French 1 next year. And then I feel like I'll benefit because I'll be able to communicate with other people in their home country.
Learning basic vocabulary and conversation. If students choose to continue on to the next level of the language, they can take the high school level curriculum.
So I chose to take Spanish because I want to be able to travel throughout the world and speak to people without having to have a translator.
I started learning French when I was your age, actually, in middle school, when I was in 7th grade. The reason why I chose French was because I knew that they spoke French in African countries, and I was very interested in Africa. I thought it would be nice to go live there, and I wanted to be able to speak with the people who live there. When I was in 8th grade, I had a super fun, amazing teacher, and so then I thought, I definitely want to learn the language, and I want to be just like her, and I want to teach it to middle schoolers.
So when I got to middle school, and then when I was in 7th grade and I had to pick, I was like, okay, I've already started with Spanish, I'm gonna keep going with it. And I just fell in love with Spanish. It's a fun language, it lets you communicate with a ton of people, and so I just kept going with it. As I kind of went through my teaching process, I did some field experience in college working with middle schoolers, found out 7th and 8th graders are the coolest people on the planet.
Ms. Johnson's communication classes were asked to create a blog outlining their experiences when life was canceled in early March. We will hear from 2 of their stories today.
He's made it clear that he hopes, in weeks, not months, to be able to open up the country. But let me make one last encouragement to every American. We will get to that day quicker if every American will put into practice the President's coronavirus guidelines for our nation.
I first heard about the coronavirus on TV. It was in China, and a lot of people were wearing hazmat suits and spraying chemicals. I didn't know it was serious until the president started closing down our borders. First it was China, next it was Italy, and then it was Europe.
But if we flatten the curve, then we will be more successful in treating those who need help. If we don't flatten the curve, our healthcare system will be overwhelmed, and we won't be able to treat everybody.
I first heard about school closing at school Friday. I was okay with e-learning at first because this means less time than actual school, and also I get to sleep in longer. It's been easy so far, only having 2 hours of homework each day. I was disappointed when I heard that we weren't just not going to be able to go to school, but that we had to social distance ourselves too. Not being able to see friends has been the worst part. Yesterday, the governor announced that school will be closed until May 1st. I was afraid that school will be closed for the rest of the year. Because I also play school sports, lacrosse and track, which have also been canceled, I am bummed that I may not get to play these sports at all.
Sometimes I feel like you just can't control the situation and you just got to try to find something positive.
Slow the spread. If every American will do this, I have no doubt that we will slow the spread, we will protect our most vulnerable, and we will heal our land.
Since that report was produced, school has been canceled for the year. Westfield schools are doing e-learning 3 days a week through May 14th. I feel like we aren't going to learn many new things out of it. I cannot imagine how a hard time like this is for people who are already challenged by other mental health or other disabilities. Our next report is about a family learning to adjust to a child on the autism spectrum.
Nick is just a normal kid.
He's loud, he's very bubbly, and he's nice to everyone.
Yeah! Yeah! Victory won! Victory won!
The catch is that he has autism, and life is a little different. Autism is a combination of genetic and environmental factors and conditions that provide different sets of challenges like social skills, eating, and problems with the five senses.
He has a sensory issue with noise, with people touching his head and body and face and grabbing him and being too close to his personal space.
But just because Nick is on the spectrum doesn't mean that he's different. It means life is a little more difficult.
He doesn't like sudden movements or to be scared. So we really try to scope out the situation and where we're going. For example, the Children's Museum, to try to figure out, what things are going to cause him issues and problems and steer away from those things.
He might struggle with spelling words or math, but he does things a normal kid does too. He spends time watching shows on his iPad, going to school, playing board games, and taking Taekwondo class. Autism has definitely had an impact on Caroline's family.
Since school has been out, I've been training for when basketball comes back and playing games online with my friends. My least favorite part of e-learning is the e-learning, which consumes half the day for what? Empty fill-in work? Oh, not this class. Sorry, Miss Johnson. Here is the Chase Agra story.
That means a total of 12 Hoosiers have lost their lives to this virus.
Is kind of scary because it was just a joke, on a meme page or something. That's where I saw it, at least. And I saw it on a meme page and it was like, oh, someone just ate a bat, now they're starting this weird virus, oh. So I thought it was like that at first, but then I started to realize more people were talking about it. Alright, when more people started to talk about this virus, it became more serious, a lot more serious. It wasn't just in China, it started spreading to America.
Is the fact that it happened overseas in China first, then moved its way into Italy, then
to America. And getting on cruises, and then people started, once my dad told me people started to go to army bases, that's when it was really serious for me. I was like, are you kidding? They have to go into quarantine for 14 days? And I was like, okay, this virus is actually serious. I need to start taking precaution. And that's what I started doing. This virus started getting to Westfield. And people started talking about how school was gonna close. And I was like, no way. This virus is not even as bad as the flu. No way school's gonna.
When you have social distancing, people are at their homes with their kids versus being at work.
And then I found out that people started getting it in near us and around us, in Indiana. And once I heard we had e-learning, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So after we heard that we had e-learning, I started finding out that we had it until spring break. And I was like, are you kidding? I was gonna be I'm gonna be sitting inside all day just doing school. Not even talking to my friends or no socializing. And once I heard that, I was kind of disappointed. I was mad too. Cause I kind of like being at school because I get to talk to my friends and do school. But here I have to sit inside and just do school. And then I heard about the 20 off days. And I was like, okay, I'm really hoping my school uses these. Because if they use these, I only have to do e-learning for half as much as I did. So the school told me that we were only going to have e-learning for 9 days and then we're off. And then they said that they're going to keep figuring it out and just stay tuned. That's pretty much it.
It is the middle of April and we still do not know when this will end. We are not going back to school. Some early summer events have already been canceled. I hope that my family's big trip this summer doesn't get canceled.
I hope that I will be able to see my friends this summer.
I hope that we'll be able to go back to school by the time our freshman year starts so that we can get the hang of things as we go along throughout the year.
I hope that we can be back to normal by summertime.
I hope that this virus will soon allow us to do stuff this summer, like visiting family from other states or friends. Thank you for joining us. That is all for this episode of Cloverfield News. We have heard about the world language courses here at WMS.
We have heard from a family living with autism.
We escaped to a better time by reliving the final games of Student Impact Basketball.
And we heard from 2 students' experiences during this pandemic. We will be publishing one more episode of Cloverfield News before the end of the year. So for now, goodbye.
Stay safe.
Wash your hands.
Do your e-learning.
It is a great day to be a Shamrock.